What up, everybody? I'm your host, JP, and this is my co-host, Josh.
Hey, everyone.
And welcome back to another episode of the FilmBros podcast. I hope you guys are enjoying the weekend. When this one releases is going to be the weekend, right? I've been kind of sore today. Wound up catching a certain movie last night. I seen it way back in 2022. To let you guys out there know, we are doing a review for you guys today. Nothing too out of the ordinary, but I honestly think that this movie is completely out of the ordinary. Very different.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird take on a. I would say it's completely new, right? The concept.
The concept is new. I would say, yeah. It's interesting how everything played out, and we understand it's probably not new, the premise of it all, but the way they execute it is definitely something like genius.
Yeah, something to obviously be explored. So, with that, Josh, you want to let them know what movie we are going to be reviewing today?
We are going to review The Menu 2022.
Good evening. Welcome to Hawthorne. It'll be our pleasure to feed you.
Tonight will be magical.
Over the next few hours, you will ingest fat, salt, protein, and at times entire ecosystems.
We're eating the ocean.
We're eating the ocean.
Are you crying?
It's just I find it all very moving.
So it's okay that I'm not as into this as you are.
You, my dear guests, are not the common man. Isn't that right?
Is he gonna keep doing that?
What happens inside this room is meaningless compared to what happens outside. We are but a frightened nanosecond. Nature is timeless.
What the hell is going on?
I love you all.
Very good movie.
Good ass fucking movie.
So, The Menu has an 88% on Rotten Tomatoes, 76% on audience score. Cast pretty stacked. Nicholas Holt. We've talked about him recently. He just recently went to try to be Superman. He played Beast in X-Men, the X-Men movies. He played a character in Renfield over here with Nicolas Cage. We talked about that movie, or I actually had that movie in one of our episodes previous. Yeah. So if you guys want to go check that out, go check it out. Ralph Fiennes as Chef Slowick. Everybody knows Ralph Fiennes. He's Voldemort.
Yeah.
Everybody knows him as Voldemort.
Yeah.
Go watch him in Harry Potter. Anya Taylor Joy as Margot.
Mm-hmm.
She was Princess Peach in Super Mario Bros. She's come out in a lot. She was in the New Mutants. She's come out
in
Split, the Northman.
Yeah.
She has a pretty good track list so far.
She was one of the better characters in New Mutants. If anyone saw that movie.
John Leguizamo. Everybody knows him. We seen him in Kick-Ass. We seen him in all kinds of movies.
It was Luigi.
In
that one.
Yeah, he was the one that was brewing up a storm, saying that we were backtracking with a white cast.
He voiced Sid. He was in John Wick. If anyone knows John Wick.
Oh yeah, obviously. John Wick in the first John Wick, of course. And honestly, various other casts. It was actually pretty stacked. It was pretty nice. It was pretty good amount of cast in this one, and everybody did their thing. I'd say that much. This movie, straight out from before we get started, just to let you guys know, this is a spoiler-free review. This movie came out in 2022, so it's been a few months. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, go check it out. Come back, have the conversation with us, or if you guys want to take your chances. We don't hold back. Sometimes they might not be full of spoilers, and you can still watch it without, too much. But sometimes it's hard to dodge them, and we dive deep into these. We talk about all kinds of aspects. So if you guys haven't watched it, go watch it.
Come back, obviously.
Yeah, come back. come save this episode and have the conversation with us. So, with that, and as always, if you guys want to listen to older episodes, go ahead and check those out. We review older movies. We talk about all kinds of things, film, news, everything related. If you guys want to support us in a big way, Josh, you want to let them know really quick before we get started with this review?
Buzzsprout links are in the bios of our socials. We're on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. If you subscribe, again, special perks. If you recommend a movie to us, we'll definitely do it. That would be the best place to do it, if I'm being for real. And then you get shout outs. So why not support us?
Yes. With that, let's dive right in. My initial thoughts leaving this movie. So, like I said, I've seen this movie twice. I've seen this movie when it first, or actually not when it first came out, because this movie was coming out. Let me tell you guys a story. Let me tell you a story, Josh. Okay. This movie was coming out right around the time when COVID was like picking up again, right? Or not picking up. Well, it was dropping down, but then they had spikes, and so a lot of people were still not going to theaters and yada yada. Now, I want to say this movie was competing with other movies, but at the time, I was just strictly streaming movies for me because it was still kind of touch and go, and I didn't want to have to deal with showing people vaccination cards and whatnot. So I let it go. I was like, I'll watch it when it hits streaming. Wound up hitting streaming. Watched it the first weekend it hit streaming, and I was like, this movie's so good. You remember I went to you and I told you, Josh, you need to watch The Menu. Like, this movie's actually really good. And you completely dissed me, completely ignored me. But I watched it. I was like super hyped about it. I thought it was something new, something different. I only had watched it that one time, and when you finally brought it up to me saying that, hey, let's do a review of it, that you'll give it a chance and you'll watch it, going back and watching it again, I can't remember how I felt exactly, but I know the first time I watched it, I was super like, wow, like this movie was completely different. This was a different take on certain things, a lot of satire in this movie. And after watching it a second time, it just got better. I picked up on little things I didn't pick up on the first time. And there's so much layers to this movie that just, it's easy for you to pick up on your first viewing, but then leaves you lingering for more and trying to pick up on what they mean. And a lot of the dialogue was great in this movie. It really gave you chills, really made you think, and their performances were wow. By the end of this movie, when I just was done watching, I was like, especially with some of the scenes, I was like, I should have watched that in theaters. I should have went for that. Yeah.
It's crazy how that works. Initial thoughts. I thought it was really good. It had me in the first half, like, immediately. I was like, this is interesting. And then just it kept going and going, and eventually like hit its like bigger like scenes, and everyone really just acted their ass off here, and it tied me in more, to the point where I was like, damn, this is like really fucking good. And I watched it late. I've probably finished it around maybe 1 a.m, and I was like, oh man, that was so good. How can I sleep now? Like, that was really good. I mean, this movie just does something fresh and new, and it involves cooking, which is like one of my big things. So that's kind of cool.
That was one of the reasons why I told it to you, because I was like, look, he loves cooking. This movie's definitely all about cooking, and on top of that, it has, I know you like those complex stories as well. So
this shit had like every box.
The fact that you slept on this long, that it tells you, man. It tells you. I be letting you know about these movies. You just don't give them a chance. But I be watching The Bear. But I be watching The Bear for you. But you don't watch these movies. I be telling you, man, throw tomatoes at the man. Throw tomatoes at this man. Please.
Yeah, but when I recommend a show, it's a good show.
When I recommend a movie, it's a good movie.
It's touch and go. You tried to get me on John Carter the other day. Don't even try.
Look, man. If you don't know how to recognize peak cinema, I don't know what to tell you. All right, just because.
Oh, I recognize peak cinema.
I don't think so. I think you're blind.
The Bear season 2 is peak cinema.
It's okay.
No,
it's fine.
It's peak cinema
so far. But this is not the Bear review. This is obviously the menu review. So let's go ahead and dive with the characters first. I think the characters are a big one. Like I said, Nicholas Holt was in this one. Anya Taylor Joy as well. Well, let's break down kind of what happens in the movie, right? So we kind of see Anya Taylor Joy and Nicholas Holt's character. They show up to, or they're actually waiting, and they show up to what they think is a restaurant on an island. They decide to have this main course. Nicholas Holt's character is completely psyched about this, while Anya Taylor Joy's character is kind of like, it's kind of weird, too fancy for me.
She's skeptical.
She's me. I'm like, man, this is way too fancy. There's no food on this plate, stuff like that. So they had courses, and it would come out. A twist happens. You find out that these people aren't just rich, but they've done some dirt, and everybody there has has a reason to be there. We go down the line. We see them trying to escape. Nobody really is able to do it. Doesn't seem like anybody's really trying to either.
Yeah.
Time goes on. By the end of the movie, we get this monumental, I wouldn't say like a big reveal. I would say more like this moment where clarity is found.
It's fitting end.
Yeah, and you basically walk away satisfied.
Yeah.
Like, you feel by the end of this movie, at least for me, in my opinion, like everything worked out the way it should have.
Yeah.
Like, you don't feel like you can be like, no, that should have never happened.
Yeah,
but like, everything worked out, right?
I would say so.
That's basically a quick synopsis of the movie. So with that, Josh, characters, what do you think character-wise?
Character-wise, everything felt pretty simple, but the way everyone was tied to each other in some shape or form was really nice. Like Nicholas Holt's character, the way he just wanted to go there because it was a once in a lifetime thing, and it was the fanciest food or whatever. You had food critics. John Leguizamo's character is a shitty actor trying to bring back his career, I guess, but he's also cheating on his wife. You know, the two rich people, I forget, but they were tied to Anya Taylor Joy's character. Like, so everyone was kind of just tied to each other in one shape or form. There's a reason why everyone there was handpicked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anya Taylor Joy's character, I liked her the most. Obviously, she was the lead here. Her scenes with the chef were like really fucking good. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like every time they talked, I was like, they're gonna be the highlight, and they were truly like they were really good. Ah, man, there's so much to say, but I really think like the chemistry between him or her and the chef really worked out the best. While most of everyone else's motivations here were kind of really simple, like there was complexity here because the chef had beef with Anya Taylor Joy's character because she wasn't supposed to be there technically. Again, everything was just really simple, and that for something so layered, there was a lot of simplicity here, which is like one of my favorite things.
Like I said, when you're watching this the first time, you can get everything. It's not until maybe like your second time. Yeah. I still feel like I need to watch it a third time to kind of just catch everything and understand all the layers. So the rewatch value with this movie is at least there. Mm-hmm. Because when I was sitting through it, I didn't feel like I was like, trying to just get through it. It felt like, oh, wow, this is actually, pretty good.
It's so good I could enjoy it a second time.
Exactly. Regurgitates, eats it again.
Yeah.
The characters were great. Ralph Fiennes as chef, he did a phenomenal job. I mean, we've already seen him play the villain, so him playing a more subtle and a calm and, just doing what he needs to do, like the way he sees fit. Anya Taylor Joy's character and Nicholas Holt's character are both obviously standouts. I think their performances are really great.
Yeah.
And if any role says Nicholas Holt should be a star like Anya Taylor Joy, it should be this one. Like, he really does a phenomenal job with this movie. Somebody who I thought was a standout was the Asian waitress Elsa.
Oh yeah.
I thought she was great in this movie. Every single time, those little sneak disses. Her fate was tragic, but I think with having her on board really brought something to the table. Even though her like role was kind of small as well.
Yeah.
I think she played it really well.
For sure. She did. She was really she was really into it, and she was like the chef's like lackey, I guess.
Yeah.
She showed them everything, made sure no one got out of hand, and she did it well. Yeah, very, very. And her sneak disses were funny as fuck when she was like, "It's a tortilla."
Yeah,
like it was really good. She did good. Yeah, totally.
What was that line she told to the dude in the ear where she was like, "You won't get what you want, but what you deserve." And then he just like freaked out. I was like, yeah, she's that bitch.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you that much. She's that much. It's like had these boys shaking in their boots over some tortillas.
Yeah,
dog. That shit was funny. But character wise, at least I think everybody brought something to the table
for sure.
Even the chefs. What are they? The sous chefs and all them.
Yeah,
that,
like just the cooks and all that.
The cooks that would come up and give their little performances.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that they did a pretty good job as well. Like I never one time was I like, oh yeah, no, they just got a throwaway actor because they knew it wasn't gonna last too long. But I thought that everybody did an amazing job with this movie. At least actors, character wise, like that did phenomenal.
It worked out really well here. Everyone did their thing, down to the smallest detail too. Because like the scene with the dude that we were talking about earlier, not to get into too much spoiler territory, but getting him to like cry in front of everyone on command, like that shit was like crazy. Really good stuff.
Nicholas Holt or
no, the one before that, the one that without giving away too much. He was a dish. He was a dish.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's funny. Oh, touching upon the dishes real quick. I know we talked about it too, but I enjoyed that they went through a synopsis of each dish. I can't remember each one, but each time they served, it was a 12-course meal or something like that. They would just represent it, and I was like, that was cool.
Yeah, I like how the chapters in the movie were represented with courses, and they were. It was beautiful. Like we'll start talking about the cinematography then, but like I thought everything in this movie was shot perfectly from the moment where they got off the boat to when they showcased the food. Even when they would switch, like I said, chapters and be like course 1, second course, and they showed those little, just a still of just nature, because kind of like what the chef says in the beginning, where the people inside of the building is insignificant to what happens outside, and contrasting what's happening in this movie with those little subtle like nature shots was chef's kiss. Is that too on the nose? I don't know, but I thought it was, at least the cinematography wise, with all those and the introduction to every dish and letting you see it, I thought that was pretty great.
Yeah. Honestly, the camera work here was phenomenal. It gave you, for some reason, that really eerie feeling. Like, this is just, like, it's off, but everything around you is story-wise is telling you, no, it's fine, until it isn't. But like, that's how I felt too. Because even in the beginning, there wasn't much music in this movie, but when there was, it was very powerful and all that. But and that's
like violins and stuff.
Yeah, and like. But when it was quiet, you just really soaked in. Like, this feels weird. Like, the concept is they're going to an island to have food, expensive fucking food. But again, that sounds weird to us. You know what I mean? Like, the concept is crazy. So I kind of enjoyed how they played on that eeriness too. Yeah,
I like that that aspect of it. But just hitting on the characters real quick as well, I fucking loved how every single person. How you were saying a little bit earlier too, that every single person had, basically the chef had beef with everybody.
Yeah.
Even down to Anya Taylor Joy's character. His beef was the fact that she wasn't eating the food and she wasn't supposed to be there. But you had Nicholas Holt's character, who was just too infatuated with the food, where like he just wanted to eat it all. He loved the food. He loved everything about it. He was just too much in people's faces about it. Like he, him stealing off the girl's plate. And then you have we're talking John Leguizamo's character being an actor or a bad actor, cheating on his wife, and the wife just being there. Yeah. And the fact that she was there was because of the fact that she would spend money and act rich and bougie and stuff like that, but she was just a wife, so she was just around. And then you have the table of the three guys who were part of the financial aspect of his kitchen and all that. And then you have critics, people that
just put the food, probably slander it,
talk shit, and then another rich couple that one cheats, and then on top of that doesn't appreciate the money that they're spending. Every single person in that room
had a reason to be
there, had the character to play, and they played that to a T. Every single body. I there was not one of them that I felt like, oh shit, like what? It doesn't make any sense. Why are they sitting there? They made even Anya Taylor Joy character, like they made her have a reason as well why she was there, and the reason why he was gonna keep her there was because of the fact that he didn't like that it was unexpected and all those all that extra jazz.
Yeah, she was willing. That their beef was just so interesting to watch. The fact that he just didn't like that she was there and like kind of disrespecting the food, and the fact that she didn't care enough to indulge in what Chris Holt's character was saying. You know what I mean?
Nicholas Holt,
right. Sorry. He was just like, oh no, like this is like the fanciest food, like it's so good. This and that, and she's just like, what are you talking about? This is
it's weird.
This looks like grass. Like
there's rocks on your plate right now.
Like the whole scene. Small spoiler, I guess, but the whole scene where he's like, he makes fun of them and he doesn't give them bread or whatever, and she's like, he's insulting you, and he's just like, no, you just don't get it. You know what I mean? And he was like trying to be a big foodie about it, which, later bites him in the ass. But like, he was a big foodie about it. He was just willing to be like, well, you don't get it. And she was like, well, I'm going to send it back. And he was like, no, if you're not going to take it, I'll take it. Like you said. And then, spills wine everywhere. But the fact that he was just so in his own world about it and just was really disrespecting Anya Taylor Joy's character was interesting too.
Honestly, he was just like, what was that comment when he was like, he goes, oh, what can I expect from you? You smoke like a packet a day. Your palate's all fucked up or whatever. I was like, damn, bro, like it's just food.
Called her a child. I was like, what the fuck, bro? Damn, like it can't be that good. Like, you know what I mean?
And it's funny because I thought the relationship was supposed to be that, where like they liked each other, but they didn't know if they were gonna go any further type stuff. But he just kind of brought her along so he can have a seat at the table. And I was like, damn, bro, that's
did her fucking dirty.
That's insane
with the reveal and everything.
But let's go ahead. We did kind of touch up on the plot a little bit, saying that it was a little complex. There was a lot of what we know could be taken as simple on the face fact has more meaning behind. Yeah. So what did you feel they did with this plot, and how did you feel after watching this movie?
Well, plot-wise, it's obviously very complex. There's a lot of things here. I know we just touched upon it, but the fact that he had beef with not just Anya Taylor Joy's character, but everyone. The Wall Street guys. I'm assuming they're Wall Street guys. That's what I'm going to call them. Those people, the three dudes that, like, they were just like, oh, you know who we are, this, and that. He had beef with the owner of the fucking place. What happened to him. Had beef with John Leguizamo because he was just a bad actor. It's the funniest fucking thing. Yeah. And then, everyone else. But he was also so very, like, I'm still going to feed them good food. He, like, I know they're not going to appreciate it, but I'm going to give it to them anyway. Yeah. And that in itself is, like, while he had something else in mind for everything, but with face value, he was just like, I'm gonna just give him food. Everything else is gonna fall in line afterward. And we see that happening as the courses go on. I think it's by like the fourth course is where it all goes downhill, right? But plot wise, like they took something simple and was like, no, it's the characters and the relationships here that can also be very complex and detailed. And by the end of it, I was just like, damn, so satisfying. Like if there were ever to be like a prequel or sequel, whatever, like just loosely tie it, I would want to see what he looked like when he enjoyed his shit. Because, you know, by the end, he said he fucking hated it. Well, I guess he died satisfied, depending on everything else. But, yeah, I would want to see
major
something like
spoiler.
that. Yeah. Sorry. Just talking about it.
Major spoiler.
Just talking about it makes me like, yeah, I forget. But I know I've been trying to tiptoe around it. But, like, I would want to see what he was when he was, like, happy about his craft.
Oh, like a little prequel just to see how he was and all that. I would have thought, at least with this movie, I think that was just one thing I would have to give negative, or one things that I would have to give negative about is that they didn't do that. I would have liked to have seen how he was before, and I think they could have used some time for maybe some flashbacks to maybe like show you what he used to do. A little bit more context to what these people did too, you know, because they touched up on the critic who put people out of business, but why did he care about those businesses? You know what I mean? Like, why did he go out of his way to punish these people for what wasn't even his, you know, his critique? Like, she critiqued his food before, and I think he quoted it at one point where he said, something like, oh, this is going to make his career or something, or this is his career or whatever. And that's why he kept bringing her the broth, because that's what she was, you know, so uppity about in her critique. And so I was like, oh, there was a few things, like I understand personal vendetta, but I think the only equal thing that I was able to get is that they all did him dirty, but then at the same time, there's Nicholas Holt's character who was just a foodie. You know what I mean? Who didn't really do much except take pictures and whatever. And
he was just happy to be there.
Yeah, which could have annoyed him then. But I think that was just one thing for me that was kind of gaping. I was like, everybody has a reason to be there, but not everybody's reason makes sense 100% either. You know?
Well, because for the critics, it wasn't the first time they've been there. They say they go like every year or whatever.
Yeah.
To review
critique it.
Yeah.
And then you had that other family who was there multiple times. I understand that one too. The business ones, I understand. I thought it was kind of fucked up, but I think that's the satire and the comedy part where it was like, oh, you pissed me off because you were in a movie that I hated that one Sunday.
That shit was funny.
And so you're fucking dead. And then Nicholas Holt's character, he was just a foodie who just bought a ticket and wanted to go there with his girl.
Wasn't even his girl.
Supposedly he knew what was happening, but they never even dove deeper into that. You know, did the girl know about it? Is that why she didn't show up? You know what I mean? They didn't really dive into that either, and I think that was something that was needed to be desired too.
I think for what we got, the glimpses of it, like when small spoiler again, but when Anya Taylor Joy's character runs into his cot or whatever, his cottage, and we see a glimpse of it, that's what made me interested. Like, I didn't care about it before, but like to see that he was just once like flipping burgers and happy and satisfied made me interested. I'm like, I want to see what he was before he got here.
Oh, you didn't know this is a sequel to The Founder with Michael Keaton? He used to be the dude flipping the burgers there, and then when he took over, he was like, "Damn you, Keaton!"
That's funny.
Get nuts. Yeah. So, but other than that, I think plot wise too, like I said, there's a lot of layers and complexity, and I think I've seen a couple people say towards the end he kind of just turns into this like maniac who just wants to, like, you know, a villain where, you know, it's kind of like just scorched earth type of thing, but that was his end goal to begin with. Yeah. So I never really understood that critique within this movie.
He had it planned out.
Yeah, so I didn't really understand that critique. the only thing that I could kind of see is that, maybe the whole fact that, Anya Taylor Joy's character was able to, to go away. But I think that's just a big thing. I think a lot of people were like, well, why just her? Why not, other people that, had nothing to do with it? Because that would make it more scorched earth. But I was like, no, it makes sense. I think it was the fact that, she brought that fulfillment that he was looking for, and brought, indirectly.
By the end, everyone else had accepted that they're getting what they deserved.
Yeah.
While depending on how you view it, an actor is just an actor. He didn't write it, whatever. But his career was ending. He was a cheater. He was all this and that. He wasn't gonna make it.
Mm-hmm.
There was no way for him to come off that island. The 3 Wall Street guys, they were pieces of shit. They were takers. What does he say to Anya Taylor Joy's character? He's like, are you a taker or a giver?
Yeah.
And she was a giver, portraying to be a taker, whatever. But they took. Same thing with the food critics. They ate food, they took his food, and then they would give bad reviews about it, or so on and so forth. And then the old couple. But it was just fitting that they all just kind of relished in what he was doing, because there was that clarity where they were just like, okay.
So do you have a rebuttal, or can you explain to me what I had brought up though? The whole, everybody has a purpose to be there, but not everybody's purpose makes sense 100%.
Well, because they don't deep dive much. They give you the best they can, where there's just like, okay, the critics give bad reviews about his food and so on and so forth. Wall Street guys, they take. That's all I think the premise is just he was trying to do the world a favor by just taking away them, you know what I mean? Because they were just pieces of shit. While Nicholas Holt's character was just there to be there, he knew what was going on, still bought someone there just to have a seat at the table. If he didn't have anyone, he shouldn't have went. I think that's what pissed him off the most, because he knew, but at the same time, what the end game was, he knew, decided that, okay, I'm gonna go to be there, but once his ex dipped out.
So if he knew, did everybody know?
No.
So why would he have known?
He said that they were just emailing for like a month or so, and that he just picked them out of random, I guess. Because I don't know if they show more about him, but in the tortillas that we made a big deal about earlier, that's when they revealed tortillas. That's what I said.
Okay.
What the fuck? Way to just cut me off my thought, bro.
Sorry, you said tortillas.
Tortillas. Since you got a big problem about it, I'm gonna say it white.
All right.
On the tortillas we made a big deal about earlier. Fuck, dude, shut up. The tortillas we talked about earlier, they show them and their past about being pieces of shit, basically. And Nicholas Holt's big thing was just he took pictures. They printed it out on the tortilla.
They hella did that quick too.
Yeah, that was like, damn, they just managed to inscribe all that. That's crazy.
Yeah,
but that was just the big thing. And when he meets his, like, what happens to his character, it's basically like that's justice, because he basically knew everything and still wanted to sit at the table because it was this grand big dinner or whatever.
Yeah. And
then, like I said, as the food critics go, they just took. That's all they did.
Yeah, those ones make
a bunch
sense.
of just takers.
Those ones, yeah.
Like the husband,
everybody's are a bunch of takers.
The old couple, the male, took advantage of his relationship and cheated, and then the wife took advantage of the money. Like, it's like, it all just kind of continues. And same thing with that couple. He couldn't remember a dish from the last time they were there, so they just took food. Took advantage of him and his meals.
I would have been pissed off. I was like, bro, we are here to eat. I don't. Why do I got to remember what I'm eating?
Yeah, but what did he say? He said it's like $1,400 a head or whatever. Like, you would remember a meal that's $1,400.
Yeah,
at least one. He couldn't name one out of 12 or whatever, or 8, something like that. It's like a 8-course meal.
Yeah. That's a lot of food. I like how he was like, he's like, it's impossible for you to get full while you're eating because I made sure every single course fits to like as much as somebody can eat or whatever. I was like, okay, down to a science, this man, down to a science. But we talked about it a little bit, but the score wasn't really there. So I mean, there was some, and I honestly liked it. I really liked that whole musical. You know what I mean? Like, it's not musical, or is it called musical? Like violins and all that. You know,
just
what
scoring.
I mean?
It's just scoring.
Yeah.
Music scoring.
I know, but what would that? It'd be considered. What is it like? Not musical. Like,
classical.
Classical. Yeah. Like classical
music.
music with violins and all that stuff. Like all that eerie music really played on my emotions when I was watching the movie. 100%. Because, like you said, it would be quiet in scenes and you could just hear the dialogue and people talking and it's having a good time. And then next thing you know, you get this beautiful scene, you know, the flame lighting up or whatever, the next course, and then the music's playing right there. And then boom, it's back to that on your edge of your seat feeling because it's quiet. There's tension in the room and it just feels weird. So I feel like when they put the music in there and that eerie, like violins and all that stuff, it really helped enhance the experience, especially when, you know, you knew, oh, this is I felt like that's what it was. The music and the pictures were kind of like that palate cleanser for the next scene that you're about to watch and, you know, feel that tension and build up. And then, boom, you get a palate cleanser in between with the full next course and whatever. And, yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. The scoring was very nice. Like I said, there's not much because they were really trying to play on the whole uncomfortability about it, because music in movies carries things heavily. You know, you couldn't have a big fight scene with no big music. You know what I mean? Superman flying, take away the music, it's just a guy in the wind. You know, like it's not as motivational as it sounds. like music helped here play a big part because, like, again, when they need your attention and it's a very like important scene, immediately they're just like, cut the shit. You know what I mean? Like even when the chef would just clap his hands and everything just went silent,
quiet,
like that was your time to pay attention and really grasp what's going on, because there's layers in the food.
layers upon layers, like an onion, Shrek said once upon a time. One thing I did like, you know, before we hit that ending and, you know, really hit that big spoiler reveal, one thing that I really liked was the comedy in this movie. That was one. The horror in this movie. And the gentlest touch of like blood. And it felt, and I read reviews sometimes about movies, and, you know, some people were like, oh, it wasn't gory enough for this kind of movie or whatever. And in my head, I'm like, I feel like that was intentional. I feel like, you know, because you see in, spoiler, there was somebody who blew his head off at one point. You know, usually you see more blood, you know, splatter all over the damn place. They kind of over-excess it. You'll see it on countertops, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And this one, it was kind of just like, it was there. You see the body, you see the blood kind of out, and it looks professional, like art, if that makes sense, right? I feel like every single death scene was meant to make it seem like art, like when they're cooking and it by the end of it, and, you know, the camera kind of pans at a certain angle that you see it all, and you're just like, that was meant to be like that, you know. Even when slight spoiler, we see a certain somebody in a cabin bite the dust. It was light blood, wasn't too crazy. She went out knowing that, that it was for the artistic vision. And even then, it was just a light amount to the point where, like, it got the point across, but it wasn't too heavy-handed where it was like, no, too much. You know, it wasn't Evil Dead 2013. It was just, you know, a light little smidgen of blood. And I enjoyed that. Comedy, too. The comedy in the movie
comedy really balanced it out, which is crazy because you think it would it was enough for scenes, and then once the tension set in, like, they cut the shit, which is really good.
I feel like it really helped because, it was tension, and then you had a little bit of comedy, which the way they reacted said a certain line or whatever, and right after that, you feel a little ease, and then back with the tension again. Same thing with the music, a little ease, and then back with the tension again. And I'm just like, they know what they were doing with this movie. They were trying to keep you on their edge.
What's crazy about the blood, right, is because they were technically perfectionists, right? You've seen The Bear, you know, when they pour sauce and he's like, oh, they got a little bit here on the plate, let's rub that out or whatever. I think that's what it all is. It was all perfected and so on and so forth. I don't know how many people had to die to get that kind of thing, but it was definitely artistic choice.
Yeah, it had to be the way, because even at the end of the movie, we're gonna talk about it right now. But even at the end of the movie, when they do their final dish, when they lay out, you know, all the graham crackers and whatever, you can see they even do the little whisks on the side, you know, of the marshmallow and stuff to make it look like it was intentional. So I honestly believe even the death scenes were meant to like have an artistic touch.
Look perfectionate, because that's what they do there.
Yeah,
they were perfectionists.
It was very nice, and I thought that was a piece of the comedy too, and even the satire with, you know, like I said, the actor, the rich couple that didn't know any better, the critique lady. I mean, we all know that, you know, rich people act snobby, but they don't act that snobby. You know what I mean? But they played on it, because at the end of the day, here we are. We're getting towards the ending, guys. So, like I said, if we didn't spoil enough for you now, we're gonna really spoil it probably right now. So, final warning. So by the end of it, you know, we get that big scene where everybody, you know, goes up in flames, up in smoke, like Cheech and Chong said. And right before that scene that we get with Anya Taylor Joy, we kind of touched upon it, and the chef, where she makes him realize that happiness and makes him realize what he's been missing for a while, right? For a long time. Do you think... Did you see that coming? Let me ask you that first. Did you see that coming when you first saw the movie?
What?
The revelation.
The big ending?
Yeah.
No. I thought they were gonna prolong it and, like, with each course, like, low-key take them out one by one. But the fact that by the end everything kind of, they all go up together, it was satisfying. Because I thought they were just gonna do that, pick off one and one. Like I thought it was gonna start with Holt's character and then go on and so forth. But no, like the fact that everyone was just, no, we're meant to be here. This is our demise, and then they all just like stop fighting.
Yeah, I didn't expect that either. I was expecting some kind of monumental ending. Yeah. And that's where I say I think this movie excelled. That they treated this movie, in my opinion, I feel like they treated this movie like a dish. Yeah. You know, you had your full course meals. You had your palate cleansers in between. You had your little side of comedy to make sure you can wash down all the tension that was happening there. And at the end of everything, you had that satisfying conclusion, that last piece of imagery, that art. And then as Anya Taylor Joy is on her way out, that last bite, and then boom, it goes to black. And I was like, by the end of that, like I said, at the end of both viewings, I felt satisfied. Like, that should have happened. Everything should have happened the way that it did. That revelation that Anya Taylor Joy's character gave to the chef about, you know, realizing that there's more to this than just, you know, making the next meal. Like how he said, just eating it. Yeah. You know, actually take your time, savor it. I like the food.
He's
or whatever.
Like, don't eat, or something like that. He's like, savor or whatever, but don't eat. That's funny.
So, I mean, I personally enjoyed that. I honestly didn't even think that her character was going to do that for him. I know that that tension was there. I just thought it was going to be like, and I personally like that too. I thought it was going to go down the route where final girl, you know, like, oh, it's going to be a big bloodbath scene. We're going to see a bunch of people dying. You're going to see the chef go balls to the wall, try to kill this girl, whatever. and they didn't do it. They did it in a subtle, tasteful way to end the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. The best way to sum it up. Everything kind of went the way it was supposed to. And even then, like, they address it kind of somewhere toward the end where he's like, you guys could have escaped. You guys probably would have made it if you tried. And they were just like, they didn't try hard enough. Now we know that if they would have tried, they probably would have made it.
I don't think they were trying at all.
That's why. So, like,
I think that was the whole point of that, was that to prove that they knew that they were meant to be there.
Yeah.
And even though Homeboy tried with the chair one time, that was it. You just, took it and sat back down. The other two guys that were acting all tough didn't do anything.
Yeah.
The actor, he was acting tough for a second, and then when he was like, "Go back to your chair," he was like, "Oh," and it went back. So I thought it was an interesting movie. Like I said, very satire. Yeah. Obviously, if you see this movie and you're like, "Oh, people don't act like that,"
they're playing heavy on the stereotypes.
Yeah, they're playing heavy on the actor stereotype. Oh, I'm all this and that in a bag of chips. They're playing on the whole business. Oh, we're going to do whatever to make money and we'll screw you over in the process. We don't give a shit. The couple that, are getting a divorce, or, they love each other, but, the man is stepping out and cheating, but he's making a shit ton of money. Can't even remember what his last $1,400 meal was. Yeah. So everything was just played as satire, and I think that was one of the things I seen a lot floating around when this movie first came out, like saying that, oh, it was so good and it was this close to being great. It's just how they overplayed on these characters, and I say that's part of the movie. They did that on purpose. I feel like they enhanced that for a reason.
Mm-hmm. There would have been, you wouldn't believe anyone else, because a critic is just gonna be like, oh, this is kind of good, and then write the review later as they type it out. But they were literally critiquing the island, like, you know what I mean? They were doing their job while walking, not before they even sat down on the fucking table. They were heavy stereotypes here.
And the way I took it too was that we are Anya Taylor Joy's character. She was in this fancy schmancy place and she couldn't wait to get out of there, because I know for a fact when I go to fancy places, I eat and I'm just like, I wish I just would have went to McDonald's. Like, it would have filled me up better. Maybe I'm just a broke person at heart and I just need to eat broke shit, but it is what it is. She couldn't wait to get out of there soon enough. She seen all the trays and she was like, this is too much. Look at all these snobby. Well, they didn't make a big deal of her being in the room with all these rich people, but you could tell she was like
the center of attention.
Yeah, elephant in the room type shit. Like, she didn't really belong there. And I think they played that perfectly. They did a great job with that.
Yeah, really good stuff coming out of the finale, for real. Because again, they could have went the route and it'd just be a bloodbath, like smoke them, like just light them up. You know what I mean? What cemented the idea was crazy though, because what's his name? The dish, right, happens, and then the old dude tries to run. They chop off his finger, which is crazy shit, because again, that was him making like the best attempt to get out, and like a gangster, she was just like, we'll cut off the finger. That was really cool, crazy shit.
That was another thing too, was the inconsistencies with that too, I would say, because homeboy threw a chair at the window, he didn't get any repercussions. Old man tried to hit the door, gets a finger chopped off. Anya Taylor Joy's character, even though I know that he had tension with her, she was in the bathroom at the window
smoking.
So there should have been a punishment there too, if they were gonna go that route. I think that was just one thing for me where, like, it was just too tamed. I wish if they were gonna deal punishment, let's go ahead and deal punishment to everybody who breaks the rules, and it would have helped with, I guess, a little bit more sense of danger. I think in the first viewing when I was watching it, I was like, okay, she's still not hurt, but everybody else is getting hurt around her. It's kind of like, what, that there should have been a show of force.
Maybe it's punishment fits the crime, because I mean he was a cheater, and he lost his ring finger.
Yeah,
and then like throwing a chair at a glass that was I don't know what kind of material it was, but like plastic window, I guess. I don't know, but and it not breaking, like that doesn't really do much. I think they knew at that point there was no escape. The only exit really was, well, the door.
Old man's trying to run out the door. Let's stop him. Chop his damn finger off. My boy
That'll
almost
show him.
hold on. My boy almost threw a chair through a window, caused hundreds of dollars in damage. Sit your ass back down.
Almost. It
Almost.
didn't work.
It bounced off, but it's the act of doing it. And I mean, old man didn't make it out the door, but yet he still got a finger chopped off.
It's because he's a cheater. He had to lose that ring finger.
I'd argue the other dude's worse. He's in charge of the kitchen, or he has the money. He's working for the people that are screwing the chef out of his kitchen. So I would say he probably deserves to, lose more than a few fingers.
What's crazy is that, like, I thought they were gonna after that scene where they have the men run. I thought they were gonna kill them then and there too.
No, it was to prove that point that you have a chance to leave, but you guys choose not to. Because, I mean, what were they doing?
Gone.
Instead of running away, they were all hiding. I think there was only one that was actually making a run for it, and he got tackled.
With the boat?
To the boat, yeah.
Oh.
But the rest of them, they were just hiding away. They didn't even try.
The last one got a cupcake or whatever. That was funny.
Since you were the last one to be found, here's your reward. I would have ate it happily. I would have been like, thanks.
Not my word.
I'd have been like, hey, do you carry me back, or do I gotta walk? Yeah, but is there anything negative you have with this movie? Was there anything that popped out like,
I wish there was more on the scene of just the women talking, because there felt like there was a lot there where they could like freely connect the dots, because we know that. Well, I guess Anya Taylor Joy's character, when talking to the chef in his office or whatever, they explained that she knew him, that the old man knew her. But I wish they would have played on that more. Like, how are they connected? Not just the men or the people that they brought or whatever. Because we know one's a piece of shit critique. We know one's married to a piece of shit. We know one is having an affair with someone who's married. So, I wish there would have been a little bit more of that. Mm-hmm. Rather than focusing on the men running, because we know they're running. Like, we don't need to see them be caught,
Yeah.
And that's probably it, though. I wish we would have seen more of that.
I agree. I think that table sit down was pretty good, and they could have kind of dove a little bit deeper on what the mindset was with everything that was happening. But I think that was just to keep that tension going just a little bit longer. Yeah. But yeah, I would have said that as well. That's a good eye for sure. Anything else?
Not really. I think everything kind of played out well. There's not much. No, I think for as like the simple as the movie does and everything else it tries to do complex wise, it does it really well.
Complex yet simple.
Yeah.
Very simple. You'll be able to catch it with a little dash of complexity if you guys want to go back and pick up on the finer details, the little behind the meaning and all that. And there is some really good meaning behind it, and I feel like it's all up to interpretation. And I think that's another great thing about this movie in particular, is that you can watch it, and art's obviously all movies are art, but this one's even a bigger piece of art that they really try to market as, like what you're getting is not just a regular movie. This is artistic as well, so
which is crazy, because a lot of these movies that try to do something like this, you know what I mean, like Don't Worry Darling, I guess, for example, all these like mind games that they try to market as don't really work. But this one, it hit the mark and did way more than I expected.
Did really good. Did a good job. With that, you want to let us know what you would put this movie at from a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best.
Well, we're not there.
No. Oh, we're not there.
I don't think so.
You got more?
I want to talk about the burger scene. I told you I wanted to talk about
it. Okay.
The symbolism behind this scene. Another spoiler section, heavy spoiler section. Anya Taylor Joy's character runs into his cot, the chef's cot, and finds out that he started as a fucking patty flipper. Like, he was just making burgers. back in the old days when he was young, which is like a crazy detail because he looks like he's been doing it like all his life. But somewhere along the way, he snapped and was like, I don't find joy in this no more. All these vultures take, I'm not getting anything out of it other than, unsatisfactory.
Well, he got better.
Unsatisfied people.
He got better.
Well, he got better, but
and he started going from dealing with customers who care about the food, who want to eat a nice burger and move on, to dealing with a bunch of greedy rich people who just eat and eat and eat.
Unsatisfied vultures is what I'm gonna call them. But so she goes back to the place which you think she would have ran, but that's not the case. She goes back. Prior to this, by the way, they had a conversation, and he told her his motivation and everything that was gonna happen. But she shows up. He's like, cool, sit down. We're gonna have the next course or whatever. And she decides, fuck that. I hate your food. She tells him outright, which is fucking crazy. Imagine telling a chef this shit was ass. You know what I mean? Like,
Gordon Ramsay slapped the shit out of
you. He pulled out a Glock. What can you say? Like crazy shit, right? But he goes and says, well, okay, you haven't liked my food. I get that. What do you want? And she tells him a cheeseburger because she knows he used to be a cheeseburger maker. So he tells her, he goes, what kind of cheeseburger? Or no, she goes, yeah, I want a cheeseburger, but not the poor excuse shit that you were giving us today, like fancy gourmet type shit or whatever. She goes, I want a real cheeseburger. And he goes, okay. You can see like his personality or whatever, his vibe kind of like light up almost. Like you can see it in his face. Like he's like, okay, I'll take that challenge or whatever. She goes, I want a real cheeseburger. And he goes, okay, I'll make you the best cheeseburger, but what do you call it? It'll remind you of one they used to get when your parents could barely afford one or whatever. And she goes, okay, just how much is that gonna set me back? He goes like nine something. What, right? Gives her a price. Yeah. And she goes, does that come with fries? The funniest fucking line. It made me kind of die. I was like, I would expect it to too. Like, better get fries with that shit. And he goes, yeah, we could do fries. Gives her a choice. She says crinkle cut, whatever the fuck, right? The process of him making the burger was really cool. Nothing to it. We all know kind of how to make a burger, I think. By the end of it, it's a simple cheeseburger, which I thought was funny because it also got its own like title card. Yeah, it said just a plain cheeseburger or whatever. Yeah. And then he gives it to her. Again, satisfied, I guess, is what I'm guessing from his demeanor. He doesn't really smile here.
He kind of smirks a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Kind of gives a little look.
Like, okay, I see what you're doing. Like, you know what I mean? So, she eats it. She admits that she was kind of full. She asks for it to go. He goes, yeah, we could do that. And she gets to go. But I think it was that. Because he would have died bitter, I feel. But I think the fact that she gave him that at the end really cemented his whole, like, okay, I can die satisfied. While everyone else knows it's supposed to be here, he's meant to go out like this, but at least he has that little satisfaction to go out with in the end, which I fucking loved. Just the detail behind all of the fucking... that whole scene prior. Really fucking good.
I feel like you just simped over a cheeseburger, my man.
The cheeseburger did look good, though.
But I talked about that earlier, and that was your time to chime in about that. All right? You should have talked about it a little bit earlier. No. You should have added it.
That burger scene,
you literally just sounded like you simped over a cheeseburger.
No, it needed its own thing. It couldn't have been lumped in with cinematography or anything like that. It needed its own thing. The symbolism behind it is fucking amazing.
You didn't even explain the symbolism. You just explained the scene. What's the symbolism?
That although he was bitter, he was able to die satisfied because he got that satisfaction of, okay, he pleased someone who wanted the challenge of being able to be fed again, satisfied.
Very good. Yeah.
She challenged him in the one thing that he said he hadn't been challenged for in years.
Yeah. Yeah. I enjoyed that scene too. I thought that scene was really nice. Especially all the bullshit that he had to deal with all these people, and like I said, they tell you about it, they hint about it, He had this restaurant. He he came up from nothing, but they never show you. And I think that's something that I think the audience would have liked to have.
Yeah, I just want to see, like, I know it probably won't happen, but if we were to ever get like a prequel, I would want to see that.
No, leave this as a one and done. I think it's a beautiful movie as a one and done. No context needed. I think if their context was going to be put, it could have been put into this movie. But I think maybe for time purposes, how long is this movie? This movie's like
107 minutes.
An hour and 47 minutes.
Yeah.
So almost inching to the 2 hour mark.
Crazy
not
because
really
it didn't feel that long.
The first time around, no. Watching it the second time, when I think when he wound up catching her smoking and everything, I paused it for a second, and I seen I was only halfway, and I was like, "Damn, I thought this was like towards the end of the movie," but there was still like a chunk of movie towards the end. So, I was like, "Okay." You don't feel the runtime. I think that's a good thing. You don't feel that runtime. It really just
the pacing is really good.
Yeah, like I said, between the transitions, the palette cleansers, and and the tension works out really well for the runtime. 100%.
For sure, yeah.
Anything else to add?
No.
I
guess we can do our ranking now.
Yeah, I think it's a great movie. I think it's well
really
done.
Good movie.
I'm mad I slept on it in the beginning.
For sure.
I'm mad that you took forever to come back around to it. Y'all need to let Josh know to start broadening his horizons.
No.
But yeah, from scale to 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, where would you put this?
Everything this movie does is really good. The characters are great, even down to the simpler ones, the ones that kind of just didn't do anything. I really enjoy it for what it is. The concept is crazy. The kills were nice. The blood was all right. Again, every actor did their thing here. I don't know, because it is really good, but a 10 feels too nice, I guess. I'll give it like a 9 out of 10. It was really good, but this I don't know what it is, but I know there's something else here that could have just bumped it to a 10, but 9 feels pretty solid.
See, and I was telling you too, because I was looking back at our episode 41, guys. It's our top 10 movies of 2022. If you guys want to go check that out, go ahead and check it out. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, why didn't this movie make my top 10 of 2022? I wound up watching it. Why didn't it do it? And I remembered, because as much as I like it, there were better movies in 2022 than this one. And as great as it was, there was a couple flaws. Like I said, they could have dove a little bit deeper with his background. Maybe made it a little bit more sense with the hostages that he had. With everything overall, I gotta say that this movie is a solid 8.5. I think if they would have added a little bit more exposition, it would have been nice. I mean, even though it is close to 2 hour movie, they were able to do that and make me not feel like it was that long.
Yeah.
So if adding a few more minutes of flashbacks and letting you know like where he was and where he came to now, a little bit more visually would have been nice. I understand it's supposed to be thought provoking and you should probably think about it on your own, but at the same time, I think that's something that you can't really leave out when you're trying to explain motivations. Because then I think that's where people start interpreting it as, oh, he just turned into a villain at the end and wanted scorched earth type shit. It's like, no,
there's a reason.
There's a reason. It's just you're too stupid to get it.
That might be the case. Might be the case.
I mean, with everything, I gotta say, a solid 8.5. 8.5. I would give it that. But it is still a solid movie. Solid. 8.5 is pretty good. I think 5 should always be like that middle range. Like that's an average movie. 8.5 is above average. Not great, but it's good.
Maybe like 7 to like 8.5 would average.
7 to 8.5 is average?
Oh no, like above average.
Oh yeah, above average. There you go.
5, 4.5 is kind of average, and then or I guess 4.5 to 6 would be kind of average, and then 3 to 1 is garbage.
Yeah. 4 is a average. I thought 4 was like a below average. I would assume like a 5 to maybe like a 6.5 would be like a average.
Well, I guess it depends.
Average with a little bit of T, a little bit if you want at 6.5.
I guess it depends on where you stand with a movie.
That's true.
Or you can like, cause like, a movie can be average, but it can be like a bad average. So you could just be like, oh, I'm gonna lower it here.
Yeah, it's all up into interpretation, but that's why you get two perspectives.
Yeah.
But with that, one more time for the people out there, Josh, if there's anything that we missed, a movie that you guys want us to review, any topics that you guys want to hear us talk about on this podcast, any questions you guys have for us, Josh, let them know where they can let us know.
Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at FilmBros Podcast. We post when new episodes are up. You can hit us up there for any news or movies you want us to cover. Listen to us on the go anywhere you get your podcast. So that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, so on and so forth. You subscribe to our Buzzsprout. Again, links are in our bios. Special perks, shout outs. It'll be really cool if you guys could just do that. And then when it's all said and done, subscribe to our YouTube at FilmBros Podcast.
Yeah, and as always, there's a lot of episodes for you guys to go check out right now. So go do that, and we'll talk to you guys on the next one.
Talk to you guys later.